evening, everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones, and boy, do we have an exciting show for y'all tonight. I can't wait to get into this one. This is going to be fantastic. I have my good buddy, Mr. Robby Raines from the Nightmare Hunter podcast over on YouTube, and he is also an author, an accomplished author. He's on his 12th book, going on 13. And so we're going to get into that. Of course, Robby and I have been out in the field together as well, doing some cryptid hunting, cryptid field research, cryptid investigating, whatever you want to call it. And so we've got a lot to discuss tonight. We have a very interesting remote viewing target tonight. It's the Henrico Werewolf out of Virginia. It's the Richmond area of Virginia. And we're going to connect some dots tonight to that, and maybe the lost colony of Roanoke and that werewolf, the alleged werewolf. And we're going to get into some werewolves out of Oregon tonight as well, that are connected to the Shanghai tunnels of Portland. And that is mind-blowing, y'all. And also, I have two cities that have a 9 p.m. curfew because of werewolves. This is a werewolf fantastic show tonight. We're going full throttle into this topic. So buckle up, buttercups. This is another wild ride. Okay, so I hope you guys have had a wonderful week. I want to thank everybody, especially all my moderators, for being here tonight. We've had some fantastic shows all week. And let's see, what did we do yesterday? We had Bruce Brown here yesterday. We had Bruce here. We talked about Bigfoot graves and all sorts of stuff. He had some really fantastic videos to show us of some pygmy graves and Bigfoot graves inside the caves in Tennessee. And we talked about much more, of course. But y'all go check that out if you missed it. Okay. And yes, so let's get into our show tonight. How about that? Actually, if you guys would like to check out the remote viewing data, I was tasked with the remote viewing target of the Henrico Werewolf. And so we're going to get into this just enthralling data, y'all. It's incredible. It actually is, I don't know, it kind of blew my mind, actually. So y'all go check that out. Thank you to all my Patreon members. You guys are so wonderful. Thank you so much for supporting my work. And y'all just go to patreon.com/the Cryptid Huntress. You can find it there. Also, you just go to my website, thecryptidhuntress.com. You can find all of my shows there, all my social media links, and my calendar of events. I do have a big event coming up. It's not till October, but I will be at Cornwallis 1828 over in South Alabama. And that's October the 3rd on a Saturday. It's a free town hall. And if you guys would like to go on an actual real Bigfoot expedition, this is your chance. Okay. It'll cost you a little bit. Okay. I think they're charging for this one, but the town hall is free. Okay. And I have it on pretty good authority. There might be some pretty well-known Bigfoot field researchers at that expedition. Just saying. And so this is your chance, y'all. This may be a once in a lifetime kind of event. All right. So, but anyways, y'all come see us at that. There's information on my website for that, and Squatch Fishing Outfitters as well. Okay. Well, let's get into our show tonight. How about it? Okay. So the Henrico, I'm having trouble. I can't have a lot of light in here today. The Henrico Werewolf is a local legend that has been reported for over a century in one of the most populated. It's actually the 5th most populated county in Virginia. I did my research today, y'all. That's actually pretty populated. This tall wolf-like creature with grayish-white fur is often seen near the Confederate Hills Recreation Center, which has changed its name, by the way. If you don't recognize that name, it's because it's not the same name now. They recently changed it. I think it's called Spring Recreation Center, but it's along the James River. Many residents have reported seeing and hearing howls of this violent creature. And yes, it is reported as being pretty violent. Some people believe it is not a werewolf, but maybe a Bigfoot. Others believe the sightings are part of an elaborate hoax by a bunch of teenagers. Well, I was tasked with the Henrico Werewolf as a coordinate remote viewing target, and we're going to discuss that data tonight and so much more with my good buddy, Mr. Robby Raines of the Nightmare Hunter podcast. And he is also he's also an author We're going to go over some of his books tonight at the end of the show. He's working on his, I think it's his 12th or 13th book, y'all. He's running laps around me. I haven't even gotten one out yet. Okay, not even one. But Robby is fantastic. He's in law enforcement, and he's a police officer. All right, out of South Carolina. Y'all, please help me welcome to the show, Mr. Robby Jed Raines. Hey, Robby.
Jess, how are you?
Dang it! I should have worn my cowgirl hat. I forgot. I'm good. How are you?
Nobody ever recognizes me if I don't wear it. So.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, I don't think you were wearing one when I met you. The first time I met you in Georgia. Maybe I don't know if I recognized you right off the bat because you didn't have your cowboy hat on. I remember that. I don't think you did.
No, because we met up in the hotel lobby the first time. So
we did. We were saying we were actually at the the Georgia Bigfoot conference.
Mm-hmm.
I would call that a motel.
Motel. It wasn't exactly a hotel.
Places. It's one of the finest places to stay in Clayton, by the way. That doesn't say a whole lot right there. but that was fun. Yeah, right before we went to we went on a little expedition, didn't we?
Yep.
Up in North Georgia, and we got
later that night.
We did. I was just talking to my son about that from the second year that you came up. You know, he was with us, and we've had some wild encounters with some cryptids out there, Robby, for sure.
Yeah, we sure have.
We have. Well, how have you been? And what are you up to? You're on book number what, 12 or 13?
I think I'm in the process of getting number 12 ready. I lose count, but I think it's 12 this one I published. This one will be 12.
12. That's a lot. That's a lot. Congratulations, Robby. That's amazing.
Yeah, I never thought when I wrote the first one, I was like, man, there's no way I'll ever get any more out. And then here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, no, it's quite an accomplishment, and I know you're busy. Like you have a real daytime job, okay, in addition to all this other stuff, and I guess you could consider like the podcasting and even writing books almost like a hobby, but it's a pretty good one.
What initially, and when I sat down and talked to DA and Doc about it, and I wanted something to when I retired a couple of years. I wanted something that was going to supplement what I'd lose on retirement. So that's all I was, worried about was because, making knives and doing all the laser engraving, all that stuff, that's nice. But, once you make something sell, that's it. The return on investment on the books is a whole, 10 years from now, somebody can still buy the first book and I'll still, get a royalty off of it. So it was more of a sustained thing. So I was like, well, I'll give it a try. And it's got to the point now where it's closing in on I make more on the books per month than I do from my regular job.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
man, that's more fire under my feet to write some books.
Okay? Yeah,
that's wonderful.
I like I said, I never would have suspect. I mean, it still blows my mind that people want to read the stories that are rolling around inside my head, but so they're liking them so far, yeah. So.
I know. I love it. And you got a good team of fellow podcasters and best friends over there, over on the Nightmare Hunter podcast, formerly known as DA Ex Machina. Okay,
yeah.
You guys, I know my audience knows because I know a lot of my audience follows you guys.
Yeah, we when the podcast started, originally it was just DA and Steve, and it was specifically to talk about the books, and then they started talking about a few other things, and it just kind of morphed, and he, DA, got us all together one night, got us on a video, and he's like, it's not just about me now, it's about all of us. And he said, so I think it needs to reflect all of us. He said, I want to change the name of the podcast. And I, honestly, Steve was like, you're the boss, you do whatever. He's right. Me and Doc were like, why do you, it's just branded, everybody knows you. And we kind of pushed back on it because we didn't want it to be about us. But he was like, no, he said, it's about all of us. So we decided to change the name of the Nightmare Hunters since that's what we're all called in the Dark Frontiers universe. So, and that's why it all got changed.
Well, I like it. I like the new name. And I think it's great. And I always enjoy, watching your podcast and having you on my show too, Robby. Man, we have a lot of fun over here every time you come on. I mean, I always have fun on my shows, but I especially like when you come on. Okay.
Oh, I enjoy coming and hanging out with you. That's about the only time we get to see each other, even though we don't live that far apart.
I know. Well, there's not many people that come on my shows that have actually. Well, I mean, I've got my research friends that come on the shows and stuff. You know, like David Pardue and Ed's been on here, and you know, I've had a bunch of my research friends on here. But you and I have had some sticky moments out there with some cryptid encounters out in North Georgia, and so it's just fun to have you on here because we can relate, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We can. Well, you know, I think that maybe one of those times we were hanging out together, we might have had some dogmen surrounding us up in North Georgia.
Yep.
So
I thought that from the start. You didn't exactly agree with that at first, but I think
I didn't want to, Robbie.
I know, but I think you've kind of come around through some of our conversations. I think you've kind of started seeing it my way a little bit better, or a little bit more rather. So
I mean,
I honestly,
even I have like these mental blocks, okay, and that's out of like trying to stay sane in these moments. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's gotta be Bigfoot, Robbie. It was Bigfoot. It probably wasn't Bigfoot.
Well, had you saw what I saw when I turned back around when you and Ben were going to the car, I don't think you would have fought it as long as you did. If you'd have seen the images plural that I saw. So
it was rough. It was rough, y'all. Yeah. So we had my son with us, y'all, and so we got out of there quick when we started getting surrounded by something out there, and so I don't know. Listen, the South has a lot of werewolves and dogmen, and the dogmen numbers are surging. I don't know what the deal is, Robbie, but I'm getting more reports of dogmen now than Bigfoot, and I actually went and did a boots on the ground field investigation last week. At a farm here in Northwest Georgia where I live. And the lady has multiple dogmen on her property and Bigfoot. My homegirl Kelly's in the chat right now. Kelly went with me. And we found a good bit of sign of potential. I thought it was juvenile Bigfoot, but now I'm thinking she's even had encounters with like shapeshifters out there, Robbie. Shapeshifters like deer to dog to man, like a little man out there. And I'm thinking maybe those little juvenile footprints we were finding, maybe those were the little people that she saw out there. So I don't know, just things are ramped up right now, I think. What do you think?
There's a lot of strange stuff going on right now. I'll definitely concur with that.
Yeah. It's real weird, especially when you're, you know, and I love it. I love it that people are calling me and they're getting in touch with me to have me come out and investigate their properties and stuff. I think that's my favorite part of it. And who's better to call to go out to these things to go investigate, Robbie? I'm just saying. Me, y'all call me, holler at me. Okay. But anyways, the numbers are surging and so, okay, South Carolina, where you live, y'all have your share of werewolves. I've covered at least one, the Anderson werewolf.
You've heard the howl that I found that was sent to me from not more than 10, 15 miles from where I'm sitting right now.
I've seen a large footprint too. Remember you sent me that print out by the school.
Yeah, and the other one that I sent you was right behind my. Now, what's funny about that other one that I sent you, when I sent you that one, the one I told you was behind my dad's shop, that was like 2 miles from where that howl came from.
Oh yeah.
And that one was actually bigger than the one I sent you from behind the school that I found.
Wow. Well, dang, it was a big canine print for sure, like wolf size. It's definitely big.
Well, I showed the picture of that one that I found behind Dad's shop. I showed that picture to a couple of wildlife researchers, and they said that's one of the biggest wolf tracks they've ever seen. I showed it to Ken Gerhardt, matter of fact.
Oh yeah. And
Ken was like, "Where did you find that?" I said, "Behind my dad's shop." He said, "What state?" I said, "South Carolina, Pickens County." He said, "That's the biggest wolf track I've ever seen."
It was huge.
Yeah,
it was. Now Pickens County, that's where Auburn University is?
Clemson.
Clemson.
Wrong Tigers. Yes, come on, get it right.
Dang it. I got it wrong. Listen, we have an Auburn in Alabama right here, not too far from where I live. So I always get that wrong. I'm so sorry.
Right mascot.
I'm just doing that to ruffle your feathers. That's all I'm doing. Sorry. I didn't mean to.
That's okay.
That's funny. Auburn's out there, y'all. In case you're wondering, it's where Auburn University is.
Clemson, get it right.
God dang it, Clemson. I just said Auburn twice. I'm having a senior moment. Clemson. God dang it. Okay. I was just rubbing it in a little more by accident. I didn't mean to do that either. But anyways, yes. Actually, whenever I see Clemson gear out and stuff, like when I'm out shopping and stuff, I think about you. So I don't know why I keep saying Auburn. What the heck's wrong with me tonight? I don't know. Okay. Well, let's move on. Dang it. I'm sorry, Robbie. That's funny. Okay. I wanted to thank, I got a couple of people in the chat here. Angel, thank you so much for this. Angel says, hey, Jess and Robbie having technical issues. Going to Facebook. It's going to be an awesome show. Thank you for the super sticker, Angel. I appreciate that. And Bobby Singleton, thank you. It's so good to see you back here. Thank you for gifting those memberships to the Hunt Club and also for being a member of the Hunt Club for 7 months. I appreciate that. That is very sweet. And love the show. Congrats to the winners. Yes, everybody who got a free membership just now from Bobby, congratulations, y'all. Check out the exclusive content over there. And I appreciate y'all. Okay. All right. Well, Robbie, let's get into our topics tonight because like we're talking about like our Anderson werewolf over there by Clemson. Over by Clemson. We've got multiple reports of werewolves and dogmen here in Georgia. Especially, I mean, I just took my own field investigation with my friend Kelly, who's in the chat right now, over the weekend or it was last Thursday, actually, a week from today. And we're moving up. Okay, we've had my friend David Pardue came on. We talked about all these dogman reports he's taken out of North Carolina. And now we're going to keep going north. We're going into Virginia. Okay. And in this area of Virginia, let me pull it up on the screen for the audience to see. This is the Richmond area. This is Henrico. I'm going to say Henrico. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. But this is Henrico County right here. And like I said, it is the 5th most populated county in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And this is where they have all sorts of crazy stuff going on in Virginia. We're talking about battlefields, hauntings. We've got werewolf and dogman sightings and a lot of Bigfoot sightings.
That'll make Spencer happy. Not.
Is Spencer from there?
Yeah, Spencer's from Virginia.
Oh, is he? You know what? I think William is too. William Nighthawk's in the chat today. What's up, William? Mm-hmm. Thank you for being here. He's from Virginia.
Yeah, I don't know what part Spencer's from, but I know he's from Virginia. He's from Virginia, Greg's Alabama, and Misty's Tennessee.
Oh, yeah?
The Woodwalkers, for anybody that doesn't know who we're talking about.
Oh, yeah. By the way,
Spencer is not a Dogman fan. He is.
He's not.
No, Spencer does not want to go looking for Dogman.
You need to send him a link to this video tonight because we're gonna talk about all the dogmen I can find in Virginia tonight. We're gonna talk about all of them. Okay, and not to scare him or anything. Okay, but
of course to scare him.
We're not only gonna. Okay, so I've remote viewed this one, but there's more. And this is a alleged werewolf. We've got another dogman we're going to talk about. And then we have the Roanoke one from back in the beginning of history here with the lost colony of Roanoke. Not that's beginning of history period, but I'm just saying. Okay.
Beginning of American history.
American. Yes.
American history.
Came over here. America. That's right. Okay. So stories of a wolf-like creature, wolf-like humanoid have been around, let's see, Henrico County over a century. Witnesses describe a tall creature standing between 6 and 7 feet, covered in gray, silverish, and white fur. Okay, so this is interesting because the majority of reports of this are actually like a white or gray werewolf. That's kind of unusual, Robbie, isn't it?
Trying to think. I've heard of like reports of solid gray or solid, but mixed like that. I don't know that
It's white.
No.
Maybe they're just old. Maybe they're from remnants of a relic hominid from Roanoke. Okay, but I doubt it. They're just white. You know, we
I guess,
actually have reports of like white Bigfoots in Alabama and Georgia.
I mean, I guess werewolves have the senior population too, so senior citizens.
Senior citizen, the senior werewolves. Well, it says that the body is disturbingly shaped like a human, but unmistakably an animal. Okay, so it has a almost like a human torso is the way it's described, but the rest of it's kind of like dog like human arms and but in a human torso.
Sounds
So
more like the traditional wolf man than it does.
yes, a wolfman or a dogman
Hmm.
is what I think. Now, okay, so the place where this thing is seen, I'm going to pull this. I want to pull this up because it has changed names, and this is the area where this thing is seen. In case you live there, I like to inform my audience, Robbie. I like to inform my audience on locations in case they live there. Okay, and this used to be called Confederate Hills Recreation Center, and it's along the James River. But I have another article over here on my other computer. Let's see, what year was this? They just changed the name of this. They wanted to take Confederate out back in 2020. I guess Confederate is just not politically correct around this area anymore. Unfortunately, I don't know. I don't know why, but it behooved them to get rid of it. So now it's called the Springs Recreation Center. It's in Henrico, Virginia. Right there, that is the gate, I guess, and so y'all go check that out. We're giving away locations, okay? Now, if this is my research area, I wouldn't be doing this, all right? But this is where this thing is at, and so it is often seen darting across the roads and watching from the tree line under the light of a full moon. But I've also heard that it's actually seen more when there's not a full moon out. When the moon's not out is when they see it more often. One of the earliest modern encounters was back in October of 2011. A police officer went out to go check on a call about a large upright animal stalking a residential area, and but nothing was ever found. No prints, no sign, no nothing. But people were hearing the screams at night and said it sounded nothing like a normal dog, Robbie. I don't know. How many times have you heard that? You got a recording of that.
Yep, not like I said, not far from the house.
Yeah. Yes. So that's what people are seeing, what they're hearing. And one woman was walking her pit bull through a wooded area. She said that her normally fearless dog became really scared and it froze and it wouldn't move. And so it was almost like it was fixed on something that she could not see. So it was almost like there was something invisible standing in front of it. And the dog saw it, but she didn't. Kind of like when your cat is, if you have a cat, I don't know if you got cats, Robbie, but the cats will see stuff like,
I got both.
they say they keep her portals, right? So they see things that we cannot see with our bare naked eye. And that's kind of what happened. So she said that something happened. Her dog freaked out. So she left. And the next day she went back to the same spot and found massive canine prints that were sunk deep down into the mud. And they were too large for any known breed of dog. And that's kind of how we were describing that print that you sent me over there by that school where you work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. So locals report hearing lots of howls out there. Now, howls can be anything too. We can't just say it's all dogmen or werewolves. And some people actually do think this could be a Bigfoot, Robbie. They say that these are deep, guttural, and they sound human. These howls. It's almost like a human's doing it, but it's not. Okay, so, all right. So there's one of the more recent sightings of this is called, they're calling it the boat landing standoff. Oh my God. And so they say this is one of the scariest. It doesn't, some of the worst encounters are people that are on boats.
Me and DA and Noah, his son, kind of had a boat landing standoff in
did you?
Combs Ferry.
Wait, is that over at Table Rock? Wherever you guys
Table Rock
were in
Lake
Joe Bald.
in Missouri. Well, it's same lake as Joe Ball, but it's about, I want to say 10 miles across the lake ish, somewhere around in there. Same Table Rock's got like an enormous amount of lake shore, and when we were at Combs Ferry that night, it's kind of a peninsula on the same lake, so it's in the same area. But yeah, we definitely had a boat landing standoff that night.
Ooh. Okay, well that's scary. That's super scary. Okay. Well, let's see what this family encountered. It's actually not a family; it was a young couple. So a young couple had driven out to the water to enjoy the quiet. Now we know what they were really doing. Okay, we're going to read between the lines on that one. But they went out to the water to enjoy the quiet. They were sitting together under a pale sky when the stillness shattered with an inhuman howl. The young man described it as so deep, so guttural, it made his stomach twist. And it came from something that should not exist, he said. From the shadows stepped two enormous white figures. So, Robbie, these are two. I think that's double trouble. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm not looking for double trouble out there. But they swung their flashlights toward the trees. That's when they saw the two figures pop out from behind the trees. They said they looked like giant dogs, but the longer they stared, the less sense that it made. They stood unnaturally still, silent, and they seemed to have almost like a human intelligence to them, they said. And for 10 minutes, they never moved.
Well, that's
crazy.
The one that was looking at us at the LBL that time when I was up there with Taylor and Tyler and Johnny and Greg. It wasn't 10 minutes, but it never moved. It locked eyes with us. It was at least 3 minutes until we heard something behind us. And we all turned to look, and as soon as the lights went off of us and we turned back, it was gone. But it never moved while we were looking at it.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
And Doc actually, when we went back down there to the meet and greet, matter of fact, the day before you got, you might have gotten there, but the day before everything officially started, me and Doc went back out there to where we had that sighting. Yeah. And we actually walked down and looked a lot closer at the area. And I initially was thinking, okay, when we first saw it that night, we was thinking this thing was like, a foot or two off the ground. Then the next day we went out there and we're like, no, it was a little bit taller than that. And Doc actually pointed out some things that now this thing was probably in the neighborhood of 7 foot.
Ooh. 7 feet. That's kind of the going rate, the going size of these things. 7 to 9 feet, which is gigantic, by the way. I mean, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
And Ed was asking, "What's up, Ed?" I go out in the woods with Ed sometimes, Bigfooting and stuff. He was asking, "Did Dogman have hands or paws?" And from my knowledge,
Candy
they have hands.
Mm-hmm. Candy asked that question earlier. I've heard, we've talked about it on our show a lot too. We've heard a lot of people say they look like just enormous raccoon paws. But I've also heard people, and I guess it just depends on where the sighting is, how quick it is, and things like that. Some people say they had the digitigrade feet with their legs are hocked back like a regular wolf or a dog, and it's standing up, and their hind feet or feet they're walking on, whatever you want to call it, look more like a wolf's paw, but their hands are more like a giant raccoon. So I've heard I've heard lots of different descriptions. So, I mean, because the one that DA saw in broad daylight, he described the body more like that, big, muscular, things like that. But the face, he said it looked more like a mastiff than it did a shepherd or a wolf.
That's kind of okay. So that's the one that I saw in Alabama looked like a pit bull or something, like between like a panther and a pit bull in the face. Mm-hmm. And it was jet black. So,
well, if I'm thinking right, I think he said that one was black. Mm-hmm. But he said him and I think it was Nick that was with him. Was They were driving down around the trace, and not far from where we had our sighting later on. He said DA said it was kind of just, it was looking kind of up to, they were coming from like where behind it going up the road, and he said it was kind of just standing there with its hand on the tree just looking. He said, and all of a sudden it just kind of turned and locked eyes with him, and just immediately turned and took off back down into the woods. But that was broad daylight.
You know, a lot of the sightings that we're getting are in broad daylight. Shockingly. That's pretty brazen, actually. I mean, if they're trying to hide from humans, I don't think they're trying to hide from us anymore. Well, I don't know. What do you think? I don't know what's going on.
Well, I've been saying for a couple of years now that I think that veil is thinning very, very rapidly.
Yeah, somebody was on my show. I think my buddy Mike was on the show this week, and he was like, "There's some treaty that has ended or something. There's some kind of." I mean, I don't know who the heck's doing treaties with Dogman. Okay.
Well, I've got my theories about that, but
yeah,
this isn't that kind of show. So,
hey, my show is all over the place, Robbie. It is your kind of show. It is.
No, I mean,
you can tell us
the popular or the unpopular religious viewpoint what I'm talking about.
Well, I'm open to all of it.
Well,
okay. What do you think?
We're in the end times, and you know, you get into Revelations, it starts talking about the beasts of the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're going to come eat us. I hear.
Well, I mean, you look at what's going on in the world today, and all the crazy things that are going on, and then you start reading Revelations, and a lot of that stuff that we're seeing, and these sightings, these things ramping up, makes a lot of sense.
It does. It does. So, I just saw an interesting comment right here from Baba Yaga. We had a Baba Yaga in the chat. I love that. Do you think all the sightings are fake, created by high-tech capitalists? Okay, listen, I know that is out there too, right? But I am open to that conversation as well. And yes, sometimes I wonder, am I living in a simulation, Robbie? I do. Things get so weird. Sometimes I'm just like, okay, is this even real? I don't know if any of this is real. Might as well go out just having fun, okay? And because the possibilities are out there, all of it. And so we cover all of it over here on the channel. End times, you know, computer simulation, I don't know. It could be anything. Flesh and bone, X Factor. I'm here for all of it. But of course, tonight we are focusing on this, what is it, Henrico Werewolf, and diving down this rabbit hole right now, because this is something that is a flesh and bone creature, according to locals. And so this is something that is probably not, I don't know, they don't think it's a simulation. I don't know. I mean, it's the conversations we get into about NPCs and stuff and clones and all that, you never know. Okay, well, so headlights hit these two white figures. Okay, they hit them in the instant that they hit these creatures. They move so fast they blurred out. Okay, like they became a blur. Now that's something that actually some of the guys on my team have a video of what looks like a Bigfoot or some kind of, it's either a Bigfoot or Dogman. They think it's a Bigfoot running from tree to tree, kind of like moving back and forth when they're up in North Carolina. It's moving so fast, it's a blur in the thermal. Okay, and I think Thinker Thunker, somebody took that video. I think Dave Moser took it, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong about that. But he took that and he was trying to, and I think Thinker Thunker was like debunking it, but like, I don't know. I can't agree with that because I don't know if it could be debunked with whatever he said. They move really quickly and it's almost like too fast for us to keep up with, Robbie. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, look at the one from South Carolina where the guy was filming off his back deck in that apartment complex. You know,
blue.
Yeah.
Wait, that was in Florida.
No, that was in South Carolina, the one I'm talking about. The one where
they
were up in the trees and the tree limbs they were knocking tree limbs down.
Yes.
That was in South Carolina.
That's right.
Yeah. But Thinker Thunker got onto that one too. And he said, I can't debunk this one. He said, because people are saying, oh, they hook cables up, but There's no mechanical sounds at all. There, you can't. He went through it frame by frame, brushed through it. There's no evidence of any cables or ropes or anything like that. But they were up in the trees, moving around and jumping around.
Mm-hmm. I remember that they said it was almost like monkeys, like primates or something, and you couldn't see them. They were invisible.
Well, you could actually and Miss Lene actually found one too. You can actually see them, but you got to really slow it down and pause it at just the right spots, and you can see small. Yeah. What we kind of theorized, excuse me, is because you can kind of hear and see some movement lower right down on the ground, because he was up on like a deck that was up off the ground, and what we kind of theorized that maybe that was young and juveniles that were in the trees, and the adults were down on the ground.
Oh, that's actually an interesting theory, and that would make sense. Yeah, even when we were doing that investigation last Thursday, I was talking to the lady who owns the property with her family. I was like, you're probably, if you see these things out there, they're, first of all, it's probably because they want you to see them, and second, they're probably young. They may be the juveniles out there and stuff. Just depends. Yeah, they're the ones that are causing the ruckus, and the ones that are getting your attention.
Who causes the ruckus in our society usually? The juveniles.
Like me? I'm just kidding. Yeah. Yes, the juveniles. That's right. That's right. Those bad seeds. I'm just kidding. Well, that's okay. So that's interesting. There's also that. Okay, so I brought up the one in Florida. That was down in Fort Pierce, Florida, and there was a gentleman named Blue. He calls himself Blue, and he was on Facebook Live, and he was stressed out. He was in a high stress situation where he got on his live. He had just gone outside and seen what he thought was like a werewolf or something that was like in his backyard. And he was talking about it. He was stressed out. He was smoking a cigarette in his house. Remember that? I was like, dang, smoking a cigarette in his apartment. And he was online. He was like, hey, do y'all want to come see it? Let's go see it together. And he opened up his door, and this thing moved. You could see it, Robbie, underneath that the light in his backyard, like one of those, what do you call those, like on a telephone pole, whatever those are. And just an outdoor light, and you can see this thing, and it's a blur, just like what we're talking about. It was like a blur. It moves so fast, and so it kind of opened up the question about Dogman. It looked like a Dogman, Bigfoot's being ghosts, or maybe like just not being in this reality, maybe being interdimensional and all that. So there's a lot of questions that this is opening up. A lot of questions, and so this is what they're saying. These things move so fast. The Henrico werewolf moved so fast that it was a blur. It vanished in the woods with a supernatural speed, they said. And okay, so those are some of the main sightings of this thing. Okay, some of the main sightings with that couple that saw it, and yeah, the couple that saw it, and of course on the people that were calling the cops about it. Okay, that's the main ones. Now, I do want to mention there is another there's a Dogman that's been sighted out there too. Now, this could be the same creature. It could be, but they call it the Great Dismal Swamp Dogman. And it's within the same area. Okay, it's somewhere within the Richmond region. And so in the Great Dismal Swamp National Wildlife Refuge, this is near the North Carolina border, actually. So Richmond would be like in the middle of Virginia. So this is going to be down south. So this isn't that close. I thought it was closer than that. But reports of this Dogman have been reported over the past century. Witnesses describe it as 8 feet tall, covered in filthy white hair. Now, that is odd to me because we don't get a lot of reports of white-colored dogmen or werewolves. But there's all these in North Carolina and Virginia, or it's mostly just Virginia, I guess. I don't know. Weird, right? And it has glowing yellow eyes and a human-like face with canine muscles. Twisted human face. That's not something you hear very often where they have like a human face. That sounds more like a werewolf.
The old Lon Chaney style Wolfman.
Yeah, from the howl. Is that like Howling or something?
No, that's the Wolfman back from the
the Wolfman
40s and the 50s.
Hey, ask for the Wolfman. Okay. I don't know if y'all had those commercials regularly, but Donna and the Wolfman. Okay, so the earliest recorded sighting of this goes back to 1902 when a man named L. Frank Ames awoke to strange noises outside his home. He stepped into the night and he came face to face with whatever this was. He described it as a beast, a wolf man staring back at him from the edge of the swamp. Back in 1902, he fired his gun, his pistol, several times, but the creature did not flinch. When he tried to send the dogs after it, every one of them refused to move. And they whimpered in fear, and the creature eventually turned and disappeared into the mist.
Trust your dog.
Trust your dog. Robby, oh my God. Okay, we won't talk too much about this publicly, but you sent me that video of a potential Dogman attack or something out of Mississippi or somewhere.
Yep.
And one of the dogs didn't make it.
No, he didn't.
And you know what? It's wild. After one of the shows that you and I did, about 2 shows ago that we did, my German Shepherd passed away that same night. It was wild. It was terrible. But the week before she died, I had another dog that showed up at the house, like a stray dog. Couldn't find his family. He didn't have a family. He came here to be with me, apparently. And he looks exactly like that dog in that video. Just FYI. Just FYI. He's it's like a blue tick hound or something. And it had we won't get into details, but something attacked those dogs, hunting dogs out there.
Yeah.
Okay. So dogs know. I think they pick up on the infrasound just like humans do. They're going to know not to go past a certain area. They hit that energetic brick wall, right? And they say that this thing disappeared into the mist, trying to give it a little paranormal flair there. So the word spread, and the hunters gathered up a posse. My favorite thing. I love posses. And a massive wolf-like creature was watching them from the shadows. The men all saw it. And within the days, a farmer named Edward Smith began finding his livestock dead and slaughtered on his property, and several of his dogs were devoured completely. So his dogs died. One night he caught this beast crawling underneath his barn, and it was trying to get some of his animals out of his barn. And so he confronted it. I guess it was like a werewolf. It lunged at him, and he struck it repeatedly with his gun until it fled. So he had like hand-to-hand combat with this thing, basically, and claims that he was actually hitting it with his gun until it fled. I mean, I guess maybe his gun got jammed. I don't know what the heck happened.
Well, 1902, that would have probably been...
Had to reload it like a muzzle loader or something. I
mean, he could have had something modern at that time, but a lot of people, depending on where he was at, a lot of people still had black powder back, especially if he was in a rural area. I mean, there were some, but more than likely that's probably what it was. It was just slow reloading, single shot or something like that.
Yeah, they didn't have those banana clips and stuff. You know what I mean? No. They had no illegal switches and stuff back then. It was very, they probably had a bayonet on the end of it. You had to stab it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Back then, people were a lot tougher. I'm not going to say people ain't tough today, but I'm just saying they're probably a lot tougher back then, too. But anyways, this man had hand-to-hand combat, basically, with a werewolf. And so his neighbor reported later that he had similar attacks. And that guy's name, Whit Walker is his name, Whit Walker. He reported attacks, and people in the area still claim to see creatures out in the woods with glowing yellow eyes. To this day, they say that this thing is looking at them through their windows at night. And also people hear growls that are so loud and so vibrant that they shake the walls of their house out there in this area as well. And so that is the story of the Henrico Werewolf. Okay, actually, that's not Henrico Werewolf. That's the Dogman down south of there. But those are two in the general vicinity of the same area. Okay, I don't know. Dogmen probably do travel pretty far. I would think they probably cover a lot of ground. They're fast, especially if they're moving so fast. They're a blur, Robbie. They're gonna move a lot faster than we are. But anyways, okay. So that is. Let's see. Those are them. Okay. I have just as much information on all this other stuff tonight that I have on these, the one that I remote viewed. So let's go over some of this remote viewing data and let's get into the other stuff tonight because this is.
Do it.
I think I'm more excited about the other stuff, honestly, but this remote viewing data is really good. For the Henrico Werewolf. And I think there's a lot of them, actually. According to the remote viewing data, there's a bunch of them. Kelly says she saw the video. Let's see. I'm way behind on comments, y'all, probably. Oh, no, that's it. Okay. All right, well, let's get into this. This is whatever this white werewolf is. Possibly a Dogman. There's probably multiple of them in the Richmond district of Virginia. And to show the audience one more time where this is located, in case you just tune in, it's right there on kind of the eastern side of Virginia in the central area and not too far from where the Roanoke werewolf, if that's real, would have been. Okay, so some of my sensory data for this thing. Let's go into that. We've got multitude, controlled, prolonged, blunt, hit, violent, hard, shady, shining, explicit, and blind. That's my sensory data. For a blind target, I was given a set of coordinates, and that was my sensory data. My analytic overlay for all of my remote viewing students that watch the shows, not that I'm teaching it, but I wrote down many and multiples. Handler is in my data. Controlled opposition. I thought I was hearing Billy, but I wrote believed. Fenced in. I heard what didn't make sense. I heard blood stop, then I heard blood sport as well. Blunt trauma, hard hit, beat, Donner party. Those are like cannibals, I believe. And I wrote cannibals and I wrote baseball because the sketch that I made looks like a baseball bat hitting something. But I find this very interesting. That's my first page of data. And so out of my analysis of this, I'm going to say that what I'm picking up on is something that is violent, something that there's a lot of them and they're controlled by a bigger organization or a bigger force. And because I'm picking up on handlers with this for this target. It's not something that I'd want to run into, of course, but what do you think, Robbie? Does anything stick out to you for that data for a werewolf?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's related or not, but when you start talking about a baseball bat, how that relates to a werewolf, first thing pops in my mind is Stephen King's Silver Bullet, the movie. The werewolf gets a hold of a baseball bat and beats the living daylights out of somebody and kills him with a baseball bat as he's turned into a werewolf. So, I mean, I don't know if that has anything significant to do with it or not, but that immediately popped into my mind.
That's actually kind of cool. It's terrible that happened. It's just in a movie, but there's another instance of a baseball bat wielding werewolf, and that's out of Defiance, Ohio. It's not a baseball bat, it was a 2x4 actually. Well, so it's not the same, but it's kind of the same.
Coming from somebody who writes books, Stephen King had to get his ideas from somewhere.
He did. Well, I think I want to say that was back in the 1970s when the Defiance, Ohio werewolf attack happened. I think, and that thing had clothes on, so it was like a straight up werewolf. I
want to say he wrote Cycle of the Werewolf. I think was in 79 or 80.
Oh yeah,
ish, somewhere around in there.
Wow.
So,
Bruce says this is for entertainment purposes only. Thank you, Bruce. I appreciate that. Okay, let's go to the next page.
See, Kelly said the same thing. Sounds like the silver bullet scene.
A silver bullet scene. Okay, well. Okay, the next page that I went to, my stage 4 data, I heard a voice say it's a game to them. And this was right after I had drawn the baseball bat, and I'm seeing like something that was like a baseball bat and something that was violent and hitting with some kind of, oh gosh, actually a weapon or a tool. You know what's interesting is I just did a show this Monday on cryptids using tools and weapons. Hobby. Okay. So it's a game to them. And I wrote tied. And I was seeing something that was like tied. I kept picking up on like a rope or some kind of like string, something that was tied. And I was seeing like loops and like knots and things like that. Like I was seeing that when I was remote viewing. And so I wrote chains, something that was chained. I wrote natural gain, natural function. And I was picking up on like something that was huge. Like I wrote whopper bulldozer, bulldozer. And I was picking up on like a work environment. So I wrote work environment, training center, athletic department, and athletics center. And it was almost like I was seeing obstacle courses and like places where people were training for like fitness and things like that. And I wrote rigorous training is what I wrote down. And then I was picking up on either law enforcement, military, and then I wrote the word legion. Oh my God. I mean, it's kind of weird because, you know, that movie Legion, what is that about? A legion of demons.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. I don't like where this is going.
Well, Legion is the the name the demons in the Bible that when Jesus cast out the demons, that was Legion. When he cast them into the pigs.
Ooh.
If I remember correctly, that demon's name or demons was called Legion.
Okay, well that's in the data, and it's right after I'm picking up on like some kind of something that's trained. And I didn't say that it was like human. I wasn't picking up on like humans or whatever. I didn't know. I was picking up on like military training, law enforcement, something that it was almost like, what do they call that? Like boot camp, some kind of like boot camp for something. Like there was something going through a boot camp, and I was picking up on something that was like violent before. I mean, the way that I'm thinking about this right now, Robbie, is like, what if there is some kind of werewolf breeding program or some kind of dogman breeding program or something like that? We hear about that sometimes, right? And I'm not saying that's what this is, but that's it's an interpretation of the data, maybe. I don't know. Could be. Except for now we got demons in Legion coming out here. Now, here's so the next page, I only have 3 pages of data. And the next thing that I wrote down was after Legion. I wrote Legion of Doom.
Road Warriors.
Legion of Doom. And the next thing I actually wrote this like drawing of what it was almost like I was seeing like an infrasound. I was seeing something kind of like and I want to explain this, what I was seeing. I was seeing what I called it an infrasound because I was seeing something that was like almost like a directed energy weapon. And there was like waves of energy coming out of it. Waves of energy. And I wrote down directed energy weapon infrasound causes heart attack. That's what I wrote down. And a blast call is what I wrote down, a blast. So there's something that like, I was picking up on something that was getting blasted. Okay, like a blasted directed frequency or something. I kept picking up on that. I wrote down gamma ray and radiation was in my data. And I got and I wrote down control group. There's a control group that's been timed out, or they're in a timeout. I wrote control group is maintained. There's a final call and something's under control, or I wrote control and then I wrote under control. And then I ended the session. So like, this is a lot of really strange data for something that's supposed to be a werewolf, you know. So we got a werewolf out of the middle of Virginia over here, and I'm picking up on like directed energy weapons and something that's in a control group, something that is going through rigorous training. And
when you remote viewed Joe Ball for DA after him and Steve had that, which you know they didn't have any knowledge of until what a year later, I think. Didn't you come or get the feeling or whatever that there was a lot of underground
activity? Absolutely. Yes, I did. I was picking up on an underground facility there where they were doing chimera experiments and stuff. It was weird. That was my. I was picking up on like a science lab or something under there.
Well, and he had, of course, it's since been scrubbed from the internet. But Doc found a newspaper article. I want to say it was from the 40s or the 50s. I can't remember exactly where. We were talking about it one night, and like I said, since been scrubbed from the internet. But supposedly there was an article about a group that had released a group of genetically modified dogmen into the wild in places like Mississippi and Louisiana and places like that to see how they populated with the wild population.
I've heard that. Let's forget these like hybrids, I guess. The ones, because there's like organic ones out there. This is what I think. This is my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right by any means. I don't know nothing about nothing. Okay. But I think there are like organic ones that are natural out there. They've been infiltrated by these like GMO dogmen. You know what I mean? I think that's what you're saying, right? They're kind of getting they're in their breeding populations. And that's the same. Like that's what when I was up in Uwharrie, up in North Carolina, we were out there watching these like Bigfoots around us that have self-illuminated eye glow, and their eyes are glowing green and red and orange or white. And it's like it's kind of weird. It didn't seem organic so much. And David was telling us, he was like, "Look, this only started in 2012 with the self-illuminated eye glow. It used to not be this way." And so I'm thinking, well, what if there was a introduction to like alien DNA or something with the Bigfoots out there, kind of like with Dogman? I don't know. It's not beyond the realm of possibility, Robbie.
I think if some of the theories that we've theorized are true, I think that makes a lot of sense as to why they have a more thicker layer of the tapetum lucidum. If they are, and let's say that these Bigfoot or Dogman or whoever weren't always living in caves beforehand because they didn't have to, because there wasn't as many people, but we've since kind of pushed them into those areas and things like. I think that might, me, I'm more of that look in nature, look what we already got,
right,
to get some of these explanations. I think that is one of those adaptive things that has just happened. That now that's why maybe that doesn't explain the color, but if they've had to start relying more on being subterranean, things like that would have to adapt. They would have to adapt to things like that more. Just like tongue clicks, I don't think Bigfoot's walking around in the woods with a Louisville Slugger on his shoulders. I think it's tongue clicks. Now, is there some probably wood on wood and limb snapping and things like that? Yeah, obviously there is. It isn't all tongue clicking, but if you're trying to navigate in a subterranean pitch black darkness, like I say, look in nature. Bats echolocate, whales echolocate. There's all kinds of species that already use it. People have taught themselves to do that. So I think that's kind of maybe a more scientific explanation for why the eye shine has shown up a little bit more. Because if they were having to push deeper into these caves, because think about all the story, and Kumbo talked about that when he was on our show. He said there was a cave team that went down and went deeper than a lot of cave teams that went in a while, and found like backpacks and things like that were way deeper than what they found would allow whoever had these to go into these caves. Mm-hmm. How does it get there?
Yeah,
because
those are good questions.
And the Mammoth Cave system, they speculate now that it goes possibly from Maine to New Mexico. Well, obviously it probably goes further than that because the U.S. Geological Survey doesn't go on into Mexico, so it probably stretches even further than that. And we've explored 2% of that cave. It runs almost the entire length of the country, and we've explored 2% of it.
Yeah. here we go with caves again. I can't stand caves. I like caves when it's hot. You go down there and you cool off, but I don't like stay. I wouldn't want to spend the night in one. They are
I mean,
scary, Robbie.
I think it's, if you start looking at that, and that's maybe why, they were there till it was time for them to start coming out. Now it's time for them to start coming out for whatever reason, and they've had to adapt to that life, and that tapping them, loosening them has strengthened over time, and I think that's why the eye shine probably shows up more now than it did earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's my opinion, but
well, we're just trying to connect some dots and figure this stuff out, because why are we having such a surge in Dogman sightings? And we're still getting a lot of Bigfoot sightings too, but I'm getting more Dogman reports. Maybe it's because I talk about Dogman more, and so people come to me more about it, and that's kind of on my radar now more. But I don't know. It just seems like there's more reports. And could people be getting these things confused and like misidentifying Bigfoot as Dogman? Yeah, several of the investigations that I've gone on for Dogman reports, actually we ended up finding only Bigfoot sign out there.
Yeah.
So maybe everybody just wants it to be Dogman. I don't know. It's just Bigfoot. But with this right here, I don't know. I think these are potentially Dogmen. According to this data, I'm going to say like there's a good probability whatever these people are experiencing out there, and they're more recent than not. Okay. These things they started showing up around 2011. I'm going to say these could be more likely some kind of paramilitary, agency asset. Maybe that's what these people are seeing. It's not often people report white ones, but I don't know, Robbie. It's crazy. The farm that I investigated last week, the neighbor of that lady was like, came over to her house. And he was like, "You need to keep your German shepherds off my property." And she's like, he said, "You're black and gray German shepherds." And she was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, I've got pictures of them on my game cam walking on their hind legs, eating corn out of my deer feeder. He said, and I was like,
as German shepherds normally do. I mean,
I don't know. Yeah, right. I don't think so. They're not usually on their hind legs, but I don't know. I would like to see that picture though. Wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, I would like to see that. She was like, "It's been 2 years, so I don't know if he's," and she doesn't like him anyways, apparently. So I don't know. Maybe I can go do my little southern talk with him. Be like, "Hey, do you have that picture?" But yeah. Oh, well, I do have one other personal sighting. I found this on Reddit today. Okay, because I was trying to do some digging to find anyone who had any more encounters with the Henrico werewolf, and this is back. Let's see. I don't know if she put the year on here, but this person, I'm going to quote directly from what she wrote. I think it's a she. I swear to God, I saw this thing in Henrico a couple of years ago, and I convinced myself that, hold on, I can't see, that it had to have been a bear. But I know that it was definitely not a bear. The thing was a wolf. She said a wolf man or cryptid or something I've never seen in my life. Very tall, walking upright with its arms kind of out in front of it, and its little paws hanging down just like a dog's paws would hang down. It was kind of handsome in a human way, and I was not really afraid of it, but I convinced myself it was a bear, and I just calmly walked away. If anyone else has seen this, please reach out to me. I'm freaked out, they said. And that's, I kind of was like focused on it a little bit because, the thing that I saw, what I do believe I encountered a Dogman or two of them. I thought it was a bear too, because I could not figure out what I was looking at. I thought it was an African dog. I thought it was a panther, and then I thought it was a bear. So I can relate to what this woman's saying.
Well, and that's something that I've kind of I kind of posed that question to DA and Dogman. It was just me and him, or us talking. It wasn't on a show or anything, but people are so conditioned over the past, I don't want to be labeled as crazy. I don't want to be, so they're so conditioned to say bear.
Yes.
Oh, it was just a bear. I think, what if it was the other way around and people, like take back in the day for, before the internet and the 15 minutes of fame, and when people just said stuff because their word was what was good. If somebody said they saw what, back then it was a werewolf, because what Dogman didn't, the term wasn't until the early 90s when that term came around. Or when somebody saw a wild man, or somebody, the hairy man of the woods, or how many wild men of Borneo escaped from wrecked circus trains and in the 1800s. I mean, Borneo must have had a lot of wild men, because like every other day there was a train wreck. But my point is, people just accepted it and was like, oh, okay. So had we not got this stigma of, oh, you're crazy if you think something like this exists, and people just all, were just so conditioned to say that, where would we be right now if that stigma hadn't have come around? And why did that stigma come around?
Well, because of counter intel, probably, with our intelligence departments, with the DOD.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying. Yeah.
I mean, go back and do a search on all these newspaper articles back from, 1800s, not early 1900s. There's all kinds of articles of stuff like that, but they weren't written for people to make fun of other people. It was like, hey, this is something you need to know about in case you're in this area.
Mm-hmm.
They were matter of fact. They were written that way, and it was not written as, oh, listen to this crazy person. It was like, hey, if you're in this area, be careful. Because but all of a sudden it became, oh, you're crazy if you believe in something like that. So how do we go from, it's normal, just a story you need to know about in case you're in this area, to, oh, these people are crazy because they've seen something like this.
Because it's control of the narrative.
Which is one of your words was control.
Control. That's
so
all about.
Maybe the control was not about the creature that you're talking about. Maybe the control is about us,
our minds. That's right. I mean, I think the word the phrase conspiracy theorist came out around the time JFK was assassinated, right? And and it was from that point on, there was a total psychological operation going on, and there probably always has been. Okay, but that's one of my pinpoints right there, when that happened. That was before I was born. But I think, it's just to control the narrative. It's for all control. That's all it is. And so, I mean, yeah, you go back and you look at these old newspaper clippings of all the wild man encounters and wild man reports out there. There you could find a good bit of them. I actually got in trouble one time when I was speaking at the Georgia Bigfoot conference, and the newspaper guy from up in Clayton, he's a really cool dude. He's really nice. But I was up there talking. I wasn't thinking. I forgot he was in the room, and I was like, well, back in the 1800s, you could find these newspaper articles back when our press was, telling the truth. I was like, dang it, I shouldn't have said that. He came up and confronted me after that. And I was like, look, everybody but you. I know you're a good one. Okay. I was like, back when we could trust the press, trust the media. But yeah, you really can't these days. I go to TikTok for my trusted news.
For the most part, you can't.
Yeah.
And but it's just, when you start thinking about it in terms like that, it kind of gets, who's the control actually? Is it about controlling them, or is it about controlling the narrative? I think it's more about controlling the narrative.
Yeah, I do too, Robbie. It's definitely controlling us, keeping us living in a box. So that's why everybody comes over to the Cryptid Hunters channel and the Nightmare Hunters podcast, and they get blown outside of that box. You're out of the box. Mm-hmm. Okay, we don't think outside the box. Just like Jim Weaverling. Thank you, Jim Weaverling. Thank you so much for that super sticker. I wanted to thank you for the last time you were on here. I missed the super sticker. I was busy Saturday night keeping up with my guests, and I missed it. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, Jim. Thank you for being here and for all your support. It means the world to me. Okay, I'll take that down. Thank you again, Jim. Okay, so there's that. I think that according to the data, I think there could be some kind of government agency ties to whatever these people are seeing out there, just from the data. Yeah, I think that something's under control out there. Maybe there's some kind of I know this is kind of maybe reaching, but maybe that's one of the home bases. I mean, it's near DC, right? maybe it's like a home base of some kind of a training ground for
Well,
something.
and I've said this I don't know how many times on our show. If you really stop and think about it, it takes more faith to believe that these things are a hoax than it does to believe they're real. Because if this was hoaxed, think about it in those terms. Think about how big of an organization it would take, and how many NDAs people have to be signing, and how many, how many cleaner teams they would have to take care of people who decide they wanted to spill the beans. Oh yeah, well, I work for this organization, and people just all over the place that were just going out into the most remote places there are just to put up some footprints in a place where they don't have any clue that somebody's going to actually walk by and see. I mean, just think about it in terms like that of how, because if you've got, let's say let's just pick a number, 500 sightings. That's it. There's 500 sightings, and 499 of them are hoaxed, and one of them's real. What does that mean?
Okay, look, I'm going to play the devil's advocate here too. Okay, because I have to. I don't have a choice. I'm not saying I don't agree with you, because I do. You and we have the best discussions, don't we, Robbie?
Mm-hmm.
Because you and I, we see things from different angles, and so it was fun just to put it out all on the table. And I brought this up this week. There's a lot I've encountered. I do a lot of boots on the ground research. Before I was public with this, I only was constricted. I'm going to say like kind of sheltered by just being around people that were on my research teams and stuff. But over all these years that I've been doing this, I've noticed, I know there's some infiltrators. Okay. And there are plants. I'm going to say plants, not only within some of the boots on the ground stuff we're doing, but also on a lot of online plants and stuff. And so, there is a concerted effort. There's secret societies out there. There's one in every town. Okay.
Well, I personally believe that there are people who come up with stories, or people who have sightings or whatever, that go along with what you said, that are specifically given the craziest things that you could possibly imagine ever. But I think those people, if they're planted like that, are there just to make the rest of us look crazy.
Yes, absolutely.
Look at that. But my point is, if this was a hoax, if all these creatures were a hoax, how hard would it be to keep that going? Not just here recently, but go back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Go back thousands of years. Go look at every major society on every major continent of this world has a story about creatures like this, cave drawings, things like that. True. And you couldn't get on the Googles back then and see what the people across the pond were talking about. So how did people who never had any communication with each other have the exact same kind of stories about the exact same type of creatures?
Exactly. And have the exact same types of buildings and pyramids and structures and all that kind of stuff. And all the cave drawings and stuff, and the Nazca lines, and it's pretty mind-blowing to think about it. And it's just for the conversation's sake, I had to throw that part out there a little bit, because this is a big deal, because once this gets revealed, we've finally come to the terms where our government has admitted there are at least 4 different types of aliens that exist and that have been found in like crash retrievals and stuff. But, maybe coming up next in a few years, Bigfoot, Dogman will be exposed by the government. I don't know, as being real. I don't know. Maybe.
You can always throw the almighty dollar in there, because people say, well, why would they keep it? Well, the tourism or recreational camp and all that stuff, that's a $33 billion a year industry.
It is. Well, it's also a control thing too. If the government admits, or whoever admits, if the word got out that these things are really real, and they're not ready for that information to get out there yet, they're going to do everything they can to cover that up.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, national parks, like you said, it's $1 billion business.
Yeah.
state parks, national parks. I mean,
Well,
if even I talked, not, I'm just saying that whole like Bigfoot death that I investigated out of that park we were told it was a unaliving, like a OD
when you talked about on
after the fact.
Old Line the other night.
Yeah, yeah. It's like we were told a whole different story from the coroner than we got from the straight from the horse's mouth about it. So there is an active cover up, Robbie.
Oh,
That's what I think.
look at the FedEx driver from Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? If they're so dead set that it was those dogs, that they had to open the gate, go into the yard, into the fenced yard, open the house, and go in and take care of those dogs. They had, and they're so sure that it was these dogs. Why is that case still listed as open?
Because they
It's
don't want
listed
the
as
truth.
open, so you can't, because you can't FOIA an open case.
You don't need to go poking your nose around, or you don't need to go poking your nose around.
If they leave the case open, you can't FOIA it. They've not released the necropsy from the dogs. Wonder why? Because there was no human DNA found in those dogs.
Huh. I tell you what, it's a rabbit hole. I'm just saying it's a rabbit hole.
Well,
but
Doc talks about this one all the time. The cattle mutilations in Meeker, Colorado, not far from where he lives.
Oh, yeah.
The unknown canine species. How in the what is there an unknown canine species in 2025, 2020? I think it happened in 2024, actually. How is there an unknown canine species in the United States of America at that time? There's not.
No, there shouldn't be.
So if it's I mean, you can take your Heinz 57 mutt to a vet and he can tell you every single dog breed that is in that dog has in it, but they're going to say that these cattle were mutilated by an unknown canine species.
Right. It doesn't make sense. But we're kind of like we're fed the information, and everybody just kind of accepts it and then goes about their day. And it's just like with a lot of these attacks. What was that? That lady in Oklahoma got attacked by, I think that was actually a domesticated dog or two. But they were saying it was almost like a mystery. It was very mysterious. Like it was an unknown canine.
You remember, I think it was last year when I had to go down to the academy for a week for down in Columbia, South Carolina. And the academy butts up right next to a state park, and a woman was attacked by dogs, and wild dogs, and they closed that state park for a month for wild dogs. That's not usually something you do for wild dogs.
It's not. No, I just was reading something. They were talking about how an entire elementary school in Florida, I think, got shut down for the next week or two because there were rattlesnakes, some kind of poisonous snake found at the school. And I don't know. Did you hear about that football helmet that had the water moccasin in it?
Yeah, I watched a video on that.
That was crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like the kid had it in his helmet for over an hour before he took his helmet. And how he didn't get bit is beyond me, but
no, I talked about that. I actually got really stuck on talking about snakes the last show I did yesterday, and I actually we won't get into snakes again tonight, y'all, because I know I talked a lot about snakes and snake bites. Snakes are really big right now too. Like there's a lot of snake bites going on right now across the country. So y'all, please be safe. Please be safe. That kid is protected by angels. Okay. Yes, I would ask him for the lottery numbers.
That is known to be a very aggressive species.
Heck yeah, it is. A cottonmouth? Shoot. Yeah, I would, Lord, I wouldn't want to handle one of those things for nothing. But yeah, it's I believe there's some sort of cover up going on. I mean, we don't have to, what do you say, beat a dead horse over this, because we talk about it all the time. There's some kind of cover up going on, and it is what it is. And when I get this crazy, data for some of these remote viewing targets that have to do with werewolves and stuff, or alleged werewolves, it kind of blows my mind a little bit, because I'm like, well, it's kind of pointing in the direction that these things are handled, and there's some kind of training camp that they're at. Like, well, it fits the bill, but it's also kind of weird. Okay. But, well, there's something else I wanted to talk about tonight too, because I came across the strangest information about 2 different cities that have curfews because of werewolves. Have you ever heard of this happening?
It seems like I've heard a story about it. I can't remember if it was where you were talking about or not. I want to say it was maybe like Portugal or something like that, where there was a town that had something like that going on, and they had a curfew. But it may be the same town, and I'm just not remember. But vaguely, I have heard something about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a town, and okay, I got one. I pinpointed the exact town, but it's in Brazil. Okay, it's in Brazil.
And maybe it was Brazil. So
mm-hmm.
I think it was a Small Town Monsters show that I saw it on, I think.
Well, the other one is just around Portland. It's somewhere in Portland. Okay, it's around Portland. How about we get into the Portland werewolf first and the Shanghai tunnels? Now, this is crazy. Now,
yeah, we talked about that before.
Have you? You've talked about the Shanghai tunnels in Portland, and Portland is a port city over on the west coast of the country, of the United States. This place has a rich history. Okay, I actually, I know this is not the same place, but I spent some time in Virginia City out in Nevada a couple years ago. And they had like an underground. It was kind of like a Shanghai underground where they used to like kidnap people and get like men, intoxicated in some sort. And they would like, throw them down the chute or whatever. I don't know. And put them on a wagon, I guess, and get them out of there and use them as like slaves and stuff, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, are you familiar with the werewolf at the Shanghai tunnels?
I didn't know there was actually a quote unquote werewolf, but I've heard a lot of stuff about different cryptids that are known to be hanging around that. So I guess yes and no to answer that question.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm going to pull up this website. It's just a little write up, I guess. About the werewolf of Portland. Now, there's actually a whole lot of different werewolf sightings out in Portland, but this is one that I found very interesting, and I've got some pictures of these tunnels. Actually, this is from werewolves.com. I found this. Just look up the werewolf of Portland, and there's, like I said, a little bit of information here, but I find this is interesting down here at the very bottom in the last paragraph. It says. Let me read about the Shanghai tunnels, I guess. So a city with the name of port in it makes sense. Like Portland, Oregon would be infamous as the capital of Shanghai, they say. I believe they had a large community of, I want to say they had a big, like an Asian community there, actually. To be honest, that's part of where this name came up with. They came up with that name. But they said that it was common for people to be walking alone at night, minding their own business, and they got cracked over the head. Oh my God, kind of like that baseball bat that I had in my data tonight. But they said that people would wake up on a ship already under sail, and they would be informed by the captain and his mates that if you don't get your butt to work, they would feed you to the sharks, and that's called a Shanghaiing. That's terrible. And it happened to a lot of people in Portland. There's labyrinths of tunnels underneath the city in Portland. They call them the Shanghai tunnels. And the tunnels are haunted. You can take a tour of them today. And what's not known about the tunnels is that one of the entities that's not well known is that purported to be a werewolf. And some people say that it's a spectral wolf. Others think that it's a man who transforms into a wolf like a skinwalker. And they see him as a Native American. And some theorize that this is a ghost of an Indian who got shanghaied and now patrols the tunnels to keep the same fate from being, put on any other people. So it's like a guardian spirit. But however, I find this pretty interesting. And to have a werewolf down in those tunnels, they say, the way this article puts it, it sounds like a guardian or something. I've never heard of a S-Walker being a guardian that's going to help humanity in any ways, but it usually does help the sacred land. So I find that kind of cool. Let's see. I do have some pictures of these tunnels if y'all want to see them. This is, it just looks like, honestly, to me, it looks like a covered up old city down there. You know, we talk about how there was a mud flood potentially. Robbie, I don't know if you've taken a dive into that topic, but almost like a hidden city that used to be.
That we did that show so long ago, I can't remember all the topic. I remember us talking about that, but I don't remember all the stuff that we actually dealt. You know how it is. You get up over that many shows, it's kind of, they all start running together. It's kind of hard to remember everything you talked about.
Oh, trust me, I know. Everything starts blending together. It does. Well, okay, let me read this because we're gonna get into a little bit of the history of Portland. Portland is an interesting city, by the way. I have a couple of friends that live in Portland right now. I know a couple of people that live up there. So the city of Portland, Oregon, is known in modern times as America's most livable city, one of the most livable cities, but it has a seedy underbelly. It still has a very seedy underbelly to this day. It could be one of the most dangerous port cities on the West Coast and maybe even in the entire world. This says, during the second half of the 19th century, the ports of Portland saw all the criminal traffic that filtered through from ships and docked with supplies. Every time a new ship held the arrival of opportunity to make money, drinking, prostitution, and general criminal activity reigned supreme in this exceptionally active port. The Shanghai tunnels in Portland are talked about all over the world. They're often said to be one of the most haunted places in all of America, and the dark, creepy nature draws in all the skeptics. And of course, they say that the tunnels are located under the streets of the old town, and the tunnels were in constant use for nearly a century between 1850 and 1941. That was at the beginning, like right before the Civil War started, all the way up until like World War II, basically.
Mm-hmm.
With illegal activity going on down there, with human trafficking, prostitution, and things like that. I'm sure they were running moonshine and all that, probably drugs and everything. So there are filthy tunnels down there today, they say, that are filled with ghosts. And they hear disembodied voices moaning and screaming, and people do report seeing a werewolf or some kind of like a skinwalker down there as well. And so that's what they call the Portland werewolf, I think. And so let's see what else we got here. Shanghai sailors. Man, that would suck, Robbie. Can you imagine taking a load off, having some beers and then waking up on a ship?
Yeah, that would be terrible. Yeah, it wouldn't be a fun way to wake up from a hangover.
It would not. I had a really cool conversation on Saturday night with my friend Greg Smith. He's from up in North Georgia, and he's a field researcher up at Chickamauga Battlefield, that area. And his specialty is old green eyes. And he had a really interesting theory of like old green eyes could be a werewolf that actually came because the Louisiana troops, there was a regiment that came out of Louisiana and fought at Chickamauga during that main battle they had there. It was second to Gettysburg with the amount of casualties. And his theory is like maybe there was a guy, maybe there was someone that was a shapeshifter. And I think it's an interesting theory. But the stress of the war and the stress of whatever they were going through changed him. Mm-hmm. And he started eating all the dead bodies and stuff up there. But I don't know. I was trying to connect that to maybe this is what this Shanghai tunnel werewolf could be too, of some sort. Like maybe it could even be like a spirit of one of these dead Shanghai men down there.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, there's some weird stuff that's happened.
There is. Ooh, they even talk about, okay, so the Shanghai people, that really sucks. Okay. It sucks. But they were also, there's some, there's some aspect of like these people that got Shanghaied, they were kind of starved and they became cannibals. And so there's conversation. We can have a conversation about that. I'm not really big into cannibalism. I don't like talking about it too much. I actually, one of my great grandfathers who was in, all of my grandfathers were in the Civil War on both sides of my family. And two of them lost legs. And one of them didn't make it home for very many years. And he was taken as a prisoner of war up to, I think it was Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken, either New York or Pennsylvania. And when he finally made it home, he had been eaten on. Like he had like indention marks and bite marks all over his body where the men were trying to eat him in this POW camp. And so when we talk about cannibalism, it's not like Jeffrey Dahmer stuff. I don't think it was like people were losing their minds and they were hungry. And it was that kind of a thing back then.
I'll tell you from experience being in a place where stuff like that's happened, because Moon Valley that we've gone to, the place where Doc saw those two Bigfoots on Thermal, where the famous Thermal Don't Lie line came from, that there was two guys that were arrested for cannibalism. Well, I take that back. They weren't arrested for cannibalism, even though that's what happened. There's a lot more to that story that I can't get into. But when you go to that place in that area, you know me, Jessica. You've been in the woods with me in some hairy situations. I don't balk at much, but that place gives me the creeps.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
It's just when it gets dark in that area.
It's a no-go zone.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally like being in the movie Wrong Turn. That's what I felt like when we were out there. And one of the main reasons I say that, because when the first time I went down there, it was just me, DA, and Noah, and we drove out, and I looked, as we were coming out, I looked off to the right, and there was just a big open field, and it's kind of grown up, and I saw a couple of cars sitting out there. I was like, that's weird. It like old cars and like newer cars and things like that. So we got to talking about it when Noah actually gets on Google Earth and he pulls it up, and we saw like 5, 6, maybe 10 tops. Noah pulls up the satellite picture. There's like 150 to 200 cars out in this field that you can't see from the road. Yeah, it looks just like that scene in Wrong Turn where they run after they run out of the cabin, they run into that field and see all those cars that the cannibals had taken out of this field of these people. That's what it looked like.
Oh, those were like the cars of the victims? Oh God.
I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no, because I don't know for sure, but that's sure as heck what it seemed like to me.
Oh, Robbie. Oh my God. It's like, get out of there. I mean, listen, we have so many people that go missing every year. And it's out of our national parks and stuff, and out of the wilderness, and even off the streets. It's everywhere. It doesn't discriminate. It's like, where are all these people going? I mean, I have my ideas on it. I was given remote viewing targets. David Politis loves me for that, by the way. Just kidding. Did I tell you about that? I don't think he likes me very much, but it's okay.
I know he doesn't like me.
Well, he did, but he hasn't flipped his lid on his show publicly with your name, has he? Because he did that to me.
No, he just.
All right.
I'm not even going.
We won't go there.
I met him tonight. I met him in Florida, and let's just say we didn't hit it off for whatever reason, and I don't know why, but
it's because he was going to talk crap about me in the future. That's why.
Probably.
Yeah, that's why. That's the only reason. But anyways, I do respect the man's work though, and I was his biggest fan. So it is important that we just get the conversation out there about this, because where are all these people going? And I hate to say it, but I mean, to have such a huge cover up like this, there's something fishy going on. And it's not just, man, they didn't want to give him the information. He was going to have to pay like $1 million or something. I don't remember what it was, just to get the information.
Some astronomical number.
It's crazy. something that it was a deterrent to keep him from digging into that. And that's absolutely ludicrous. So, ooh.
Well, and
Man, I've
I
never
think
heard
that's
that about the cars in the field. The heck, man.
and DA and I having the law enforcement mind, we were like, wonder what would happen if you went out there and started running VINs off those cars.
I know. Do you have access to that place?
Oh no, it's in Missouri.
Missouri?
But there's more to that story. That's why I said there's more. Let's just say DA was, and I won't say visited, because he was in a Walmart and ran into somebody that he used to work with, and this person didn't live in that area, and all of a sudden he runs into him after not seeing him for years after we start talking about this, and he was kind of told, you might need to drop that.
Oh, don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I've had one proverbial knock at my door like that, but it was talking about the moon, wasn't about the missing people or anything or cars. That's wild. That's really wild. So you can talk about anything, but don't talk about that. Don't bring it up, or else your car might end up out there in that lot. Dang.
Well, they can try.
Yeah. Golly. I'm probably going to get a phone call after the show now. Thanks a lot, Robbie. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Listen, I talk about this stuff all the time. If I'm still here, we're doing okay. All right. We're doing okay. I'm going to keep on talking. I don't care. Yeah. I'm just a crazy girl from the South. I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's this is wild. I love connecting these dots. I do.
And for everybody in the chat, Jessica and I are not planning on disappearing.
Absolutely not.
So.
Definitely not. I love my life. I really do. I mean, lately it's not been, I've been wanting to beat people up lately, but I'm not going anywhere. Okay. Oh man.
I'm just saying, if we mysteriously
disappear,
we ain't planning on it. So
I'm definitely not planning on it. No, definitely not. Oh my God. You could get electrocuted for no reason. Oh my God, Amy. Be careful in Walmart. Did I miss something? I don't know. I kind of skip through the chat sometimes, and I'm like, I pull up the comments, and I'm like, did I miss something here? Be careful in Walmart. Yes, be careful in Walmart, y'all. Well, speaking of being careful in public places, let's talk about this curfew. Okay, I think this is actually pretty cool information. I came across this YouTube channel today because I was trying to find some more like personal accounts into some of these werewolf sightings. And I got into the whole Shanghai werewolf thing, and I found this guy who was talking about he has a YouTube channel. Let's see, I might pull it up. Well, I don't know if this is his YouTube channel, but it's called Sleslor or something like that. I don't know, Sleslor. I'll pull it up just so y'all could see it. Okay, just because I want to give this person credit. I didn't come up with this myself. I found this today. Small town surveyor. Okay, this is the story. I'm not going to play this. Oh, look, it's my favorite right there on the side. Mr. DP. Small town surveyor residents had a 9 p.m. werewolf curfew in place. Now, okay, normally I wouldn't take this to be like a big deal, and I'd be like, oh, okay, that's cool. It's just somebody called in, and I wouldn't normally show stuff like this on the show, but I'd already found another account of this. Okay, so y'all go check that out if you want to. I'm going to stop sharing this. I found another account out of Brazil and I have a video to show. I don't know about this video, Robbie. I want to get your opinion on this.
Okay.
Because it's supposed to be a werewolf, and it's the actual reason as to why they have a 9 p.m. curfew. But let's get into this one first, and then we'll show the video out of Brazil. And the one out of Brazil, it's always grainy, they're blurry. It could be a person in a costume, but it also could be real. There's that. Okay, so I took notes, y'all. Robbie, I dictate everything. Oh my God, that sounded weird. Okay, so a werewolf curfew, 9 p.m. A property surveyor, this is what the guy said. A property surveyor in a small town in Oregon. Now, he didn't say it was Portland. He said it was a small town. I wanted to say that it was kind of outside of Portland somewhere. He just said a small town of Portland. His boss, okay, so this is the person that this guy said wrote in. He said he was taking on a 6-month job. He went to oversee a large park being built. Now, if anybody in the chat has any information on this, if you guys can back this up, please let me know. Okay, I'm going to keep an eye on the chat tonight. But he went to go see a park that was being built. I don't know if he worked for a recreation department or worked in some kind of landscaping department. But he said he was given a house to stay in for 6 months. And the community there was very much against this park being built, kind of like the AI data centers are being right now. So everybody was really upset in this city. So everywhere he would go, if they had any kind of public meetings, like zoning meetings that he was at, they would come and protest this. And he said that it was weird. It wasn't that weird at first because he thought they were just protesting because they said it was going to affect the wildlife in the area. And they didn't want this park being built. Well, then he said the people in the town found out where he lived, and he thought, oh, that's a bad thing because, these people are mad that I'm here because they associate me with building this park that they don't want. Well, when he's talking to these people, they're giving him these signals like, hey, don't go outside past 9 o'clock. We have a curfew here. And he thought they were just like giving him a hard time, not letting him, they didn't want him there. And he said they found out where he lived, and he started having notes that were showing up on his door and on his car under his windshield wiper that said, don't be outside after 9 p.m. And he thought that it was just really strange. He was like, these people are just trying to drive me out of here. And he deduced that these are just a bunch of crazy people, according to this guy that was telling the story. And so he started like not taking this seriously and not following the rules, and the people got mad. And he started noticing that like he was staying outside late at night and stuff. He was staying at his work site late. And so it just was like getting progressively more kind of, they're pushing against him a little bit more like, hey, get in your house. But they wouldn't tell him why. Well, the guy was like there for a couple of weeks and he was getting lonely. So what did he do? He got on a dating app. Okay. I don't know about you, Robbie. I've never been on a dating app. I'm just be honest with you. I don't even know how they work, but he was swiping left or whatever that is. And so, or right, however you go. And,
I think it's right. If it's good,
it's swiping.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm just kidding. See, I don't know, but nothing wrong with that, y'all. I'm just saying, I don't know how that works, but he was swiping and he found a woman in his area. And so he was lonely. He wanted to go on a date. So he took this lady. He met this lady at a restaurant. They went to dinner. This is according to this thing that I was listening to. And so he started asking her, like, she's like, hey, I got to be home before 9. He was like, what's the deal with that? Why is everybody got to be home by 9? And she in confidence told him, she said, look, we have an issue with this national park that comes up next to the property right here, like where our town is, with werewolves coming into town at night. And so it's such an issue that they've called a curfew, and it's a real problem. You need to take it seriously. And at that point, he thought that he was on candid camera or something. He was like, yeah, you guys are just messing with me. You just want me out of here. Well, I don't know if he was coming home that night, but at some point, what was said was that this woman came to his house and was like, look, get in your house. It's after 9 o'clock. And if you don't, something's going to happen if you don't. And she was like, just, yelling at him. And he said that, so he went in his house because this woman was acting crazy when she came up to his door. And that when she turned around, she tripped over his flower bed and she fell and she broke her nose. Well, he was like, well, if this was an act, this woman was so upset. She kept going. It was like, it wasn't an act at that point because there was blood everywhere. It was freaking him out. And the way that she was acting was just, she started screaming. She said, what are you doing? Get in the house now. She was still yelling at him, even with her nose broken and everything. And she was crawling out of there. She was like, get in your house right now. So he went in the house and he knew that she wasn't joking. She had twisted her ankle. I think she broke her foot. She did all sorts of crazy stuff. It was like she was like a zombie trying to get him out, get him in his house, whatever. And he said the next morning he was so weirded out by it. He was like, look, at this point, with this woman breaking her nose and there's being blood everywhere, there's no way this is a ruse. And so he called his boss and was like, "What in the hell is going on here?" And the apparently he had a meeting with some of the people he worked with, and they said, "No, there's really werewolves in that town, and they really come down from the mountain every night, and there's really a curfew there." And so if anybody in the chat, like I said, if you guys can back this up, please let me know, because there is one other story about this out of
What
Brazil.
national park would that
I don't
be?
know. They didn't say in what I was listening to. I'm not sure. I know Bigfoot dwarf lived in Oregon.
It have to be. Let's see, because we started looking into the theory of these zones, and I'm just curious. That's
yeah. Well, let me pull it up. Why don't we pull up a map of the national parks in Oregon? Why not?
I'm just wondering I wonder if it's close to the Bitterroots.
The Bitterroots, is that a park?
Bitterroot, that's around the area where Teddy Roosevelt wrote from most of the Wilderness Hunter books, where the Bauman incident happened. And there,
really,
if you haven't got into the Bitterroot, you need to dive into that one.
No, I haven't.
Go back and watch some of our shows where we talk about that. There is a lot of weird stuff that's happened in there.
Okay, can y'all see that? That is, we've got several parks right there. Now, I just typed in national parks. There's Lewis and Clark National Historical Park up in the northwestern corner. We got the Fort Vancouver National Historic Site, the John Day Fossil Beds National Monument, Crater Lake National Park. Interesting. And the Oregon Caves National Monument and Preserve. So I don't know, where is Portland exactly with all this? I don't even know where Portland sits inside that state. Wow. Looking at the chat over here. Okay, well, that's quite interesting that Roosevelt had something to do with this out there. Huh.
Well, that the Roosevelt thing's a whole another rabbit hole to jump down.
That is a rabbit hole.
88 million acres of national parks in the United States that can't do anything on. What could hide in 88 million acres?
I've heard of Crater Lake before, and I see a lot of people typing that in the chat right now. Crater Lake. Crater Lake, is there like I think Kent Baxter. Kent hadn't been in the chat in a while. Okay, Kent. I think Kent was asking me about Crater Lake, and it seems like there's some kind of, maybe there's an underground base or something there. I don't know. There's something weird going on at Crater Lake. I've heard of it.
Well, I think I saw somebody that said the Bitterroots are in Idaho, which Idaho is
right beside it.
Oregon borders Idaho, so if it's in one of these small towns along that border, it's very possible that that's that same area. You need to dive down that rabbit hole and start looking at that.
Okay.
Look for Zone Echo.
Zone Echo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Zone Echo, Bitterroots. That's or you can, if you want to go back sometime when you got some extra time and watch that show. We did I think that was a 3-hour show we did on that.
Ooh, I definitely want to go back and watch that. I missed that one. Shoot, yeah. Now, Terry, I don't know if Terry's referring to, Terry, are you referring to what I was just talking about with that case out of that I was just reading about? She says it was a lady who lived next door. He went to check on her the next day and she was cold towards him. Yeah, that's what I heard too, in that recounting of that tale. She was mad. Well, she broke her nose, man. She broke her nose.
Possibly her foot.
Save him. Honestly, if they didn't like him though, and they didn't want him there, they should have just let the werewolves eat him. I'm just saying. Is that
well?
mean?
I mean, if they were trying to warn him, I guess that means they didn't want nothing to happen to him.
I know, right? It seems like if they didn't want him there, they would have just let them eat him. So you got to give some applause to those people there. They were trying to help his hard-headed ass. Okay. Sounds like it. Okay, well, let's go to the one in Brazil. I'm going to show you this video. Now, the video is kind of weird. Okay. And it's something that I have seen before. I had seen this a long time ago. It looks like a CCTV video, and it almost looks like a rope swing in somebody's backyard. And this like werewolf dogman thing goes up and starts like playing with it. And this is the story behind this is, and I don't know what year this was, a place called, and I cannot pronounce anything right. I'm going to say São Gonçalo or Gonçalo dos Campos in Brazil has a 9 p.m. curfew due to sightings of a creature described as a werewolf. This curfew was implemented after multiple residents reported encounters with this werewolf. The town of São Gonçalo de Campos in Brazil has implemented the curfew. The decision was made after several residents, including a man known as Pingo, claimed to have encountered a 5-foot-tall black monster. Initially met with skepticism, these reports led to increased concern among the locals, prompting a curfew. Now, I don't know how far back this goes. They probably still don't have this curfew, but it was in place for a while. And let's see if I can find that video up here. Here we go. I'm going to make the screen bigger for you guys and back it up. And let me pause it, and then we're going to come back and show you guys. Okay, here we go. Let me share my screen. Now, Robbie, please tell me your opinion on this. Okay. Because it could be fake. It could be anything. All right, let me see. Let me make sure that's showing. All right, here we go. Let me hit the play. You seen it? Okay, Here we go. There's no sound to this. I don't know if that's a rope or if that's a limb hanging down on that tree right there.
Yeah, it looks like some kind of rope swing.
It did to me too. All right, you're going to see this figure kind of come in the back. You'll see it a little better in a second. I mean, it could be a bear. That doesn't look like a bear, though, does it?
No.
It's got a, like, long nose. I don't know. Let's go back. Let me go back and watch this one more time. I'm just going to do the very end where you can see its face. It looks like a person, but with his nose. I mean, that's weird. All right. Well, this could just be somebody pretending to be a werewolf, but this is the video. I'd seen this a long time ago, and then it came back around. I never gave it any kind of credibility back in the day when I first saw that. But this is what came up when they were like, hey, this is it on camera. This is why they have a curfew in Brazil, is because of that video right there. They actually caught it on video. So I don't know. What do you think about that, Robbie? Did you get a good look at it?
Yeah. I mean,
it looked like a man.
What the immediate reaction that I have of the way it was moving, it reminds me of the old 1980s TV show Werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember that, remember how the werewolf moved?
Yeah.
Because the guy was, and I'm not saying because I'm not saying it is or didn't fake or whatever, but the way it's moving, that's exactly how that werewolf on that TV show moved.
Yeah.
It moved. It predominantly walked or moved on all fours, unless it was standing up to fight or attack somebody. But that's how it moved, and that was the first thing that popped in my mind when it started moving. Was like, oh, that looks just like the old TV show.
Man. Well, this goes along with the story of why these people have a curfew down in Brazil. So to me, it looks like, a werewolf is, by definition of like the old school definition of a werewolf, is a human that transforms into a wolf-like creature. And that, whatever that thing was, looked like a man to me, but it had like a muzzle, like a snout on it. And you can see its teeth and all that. It could just be a crazy person.
What
was it? I mean, I don't know. Let me go back. Okay, here, let's do this. I'm gonna pause it where it shows his face. I'm gonna try to at least. Here we go. See, you can see his those white teeth. Hold on. Look at his those. See the side of his face right there? Do y'all see that? I mean, I don't know about that, Robbie. Looks like Daffy Duck, kind of.
I mean, I don't see any ears.
I don't see.
Even when it turns that way, I mean,
you could see his face. He's got like skin. He's like a human face, but then he's got that long thing jutting off the front of his face. So, like I
mean,
said,
it's definitely got an elongated snout on it. But
it does.
The only thing that kind of gives me pause is when it starts shaking its head. It does kind of look like the snout kind of flexes a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back and watch it when it's zoomed in on it shaking its head, it does kind of look like there's a little bit of flex in it. So maybe it is a mask, or maybe that's just watch when it starts shaking. See how it looks like you see what I'm talking about? It looks like the head's going this way and the nose is going back this way.
Yeah, it's like what is he doing? He's fighting with himself out there. Like he's not. It's just weird. Like why is he looking like that? Unless he's in the middle of a transformation and his body's hurting. You know, he's out there flailing around with his head and stuff. So I don't know. The day of CGI and AI and stuff. I mean, this looks more like somebody. If anything, this is a person in a costume. Okay, or it could be a real werewolf. I don't know. There's also the conversation or the argument of like, well, you know, some people have called Dogman werewolves for a long time too. That actually looks more like a human. Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's a human. If anything, it could be a human transforming into a werewolf, but that's not a dog. That did not look like a Dogman to me. Internet says Gugway. What if that's a Gugway? I always thought a Gugway would be like way more not human looking. I don't know. What do you think, Robbie?
Gugway doesn't enter. I mean, I guess the pronounced now, that's where a lot of that comes from, but that doesn't make me think Gugway, because typically, you know, just think about the show that you and I did on the Beast of Seven shoots, where we both come to the agreement that we thought that was a Gugway. They're typically really, really big, massively built creatures. That doesn't look like more than about maybe 6 foot ish. I mean, you can't get a true scale on it, obviously, but it doesn't look like it's. To me, it doesn't look big enough to be a Gugway. It doesn't. The head shape is a little bit different than that. The snout's a little bit too elongated. I don't. I mean, it could be. It's a dark and grainy video, so but
Yeah.
I lean more towards if it is a real creature, I would lean more towards some type of werewolf, Dogman type thing. It doesn't scream Gugway to me, but that's just my opinion. I'm not.
I think it looked like a bill of a hat. I'm with BD. She said hat, no cap. That's what I was thinking too. It kind of looks like it's had like the bill of a cap down like right here. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I had to grab my hat, my Dogman hat.
In my honest opinion, it like I said, when it zooms in on it and it's shaking its head, it looks like the nose is a flexible rubber mask type thing to me, and it just looks like it's flexing. That could be just the graininess of the video. It's not a really high quality video, but I don't think that that's a real one. I think that's faked just because of that. But if it is a real creature, I lean more towards a Dogman type.
Yeah, I think it's what was that? One of my favorite cryptids out of Alabama is the Crichton leprechaun. And in the words of one of the witnesses, when the lady, she's like, well, it might be a crackhead. I'm just saying. I mean, it could also be that too. Okay, might be crackhead. Got his hands on the wrong stuff, she said. And so that's a possibility too. I know you're a cop. You know all about that.
Oh yeah. Greater North American meth heads.
Exactly. So there could be that too, y'all. This is for entertainment purposes only. But you never know. It could be anything. I mean, it could also. I mean, it could be a actual werewolf. I mean, that is, when you look up this curfew and stuff. I mean, that video goes hand in hand with the information. So, Northwest Native Tracker, thank you for being here. She says, looks like more like a badger man. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a werewolf, too. It could be something else. And there does happen to be a whole lot of weird stuff out there of like, let's talk about the Kushika, right? Like the otter man out there. Why wouldn't there be a badger man? Yeah. And this is actually not too far from where the Kushika are found. If it's up on I guess it's on the coast, right? Actually, no, this is Brazil. We're talking about Brazil.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Oregon. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Kushika's in Alaska.
Alaska.
I was still stuck in Oregon just then. Okay, so
yeah. I was wondering where you were.
I've had some glitch
outs. Brazil is close to Alaska, but okay.
I know. Listen, Robbie, I'm telling you, I'm still trying to get used to my son going to school. I have not slept hardly at all this week. Okay. If I'm glitching out tonight, it's because I haven't slept much this week. My kid's gone back to school and we have to get up really early now. So it's my excuse. Okay. But, yes. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. This is my Dogman hat. I got this at a Bigfoot conference, I think. And so thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, this has been a really interesting show tonight, Robbie. I really enjoyed this, by the way. And I think that we've covered some really cool topics tonight. Of course, what is it called? The Henrico Werewolf. And I think there's multiple werewolves. I think that we need to keep the conversation open as to maybe there could be some sort of training ground. If you guys believe in the Dogman breeding programs and them being used as assets with certain agencies and stuff, this could be one of the places where they're training. Could be, according to my data. And that may be what people are seeing out there. But I'm just saying it's for entertainment purposes only. I don't know. It's just data, but it's fun to talk about. So, yeah, we've gone all over the world today, Robbie. And so thank you for joining me tonight.
Well,
thank you so
for
much.
Having me.
Of course. Well, what is going on over in your neck of the woods? And before we get to that, do you have any thoughts, any like final thoughts on all these werewolves we talked about tonight? We've talked about a lot of werewolves tonight.
Well, werewolves are always near and dear to my heart. That's my favorite.
Mine too.
And if you read my books, it's obvious that those are my favorite. Like I said, the veil's thinning, and I think that's why there's a lot of new and exciting things. I guess exciting is a relative term depending on who you're talking about or what perspective it's coming from. But yeah, I love diving into this stuff. Thanks for having me. I enjoy these chats.
Of course, I do too. I was actually pulling up your books right here. Hold on, I'm gonna get them over on Amazon. What number book are you on? Are you on 12 or 13?
Hang on.
Which one are you on? That's a bunch of books, Robbie.
7, 8, 9, 10. I'm working on number 12.
On number 12, I'll be. Well, well, first of all, you are a co-host over at the Nightmare Hunter podcast. How's everybody doing over there? I need to hang out with y'all again sometime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doc is working his tail off. He's trying to. So anybody needs a med kit, go to darkangelmedical.com. Best kits in the business. He's working his rear end off. I think he's either on his way back or still in Texas right now. DA and Annette are on vacation, so we should be back next week on the show. DA's currently working on his latest Apex Predators book, which is really good. Doc's working on his second book. He's pretty much done with it, and I'm about 52,000 words into this one that I'm working on. The one I'm working on is the follow-up to the my Dark Frontiers War Journals book. um, three of us kind of come up with, because DA obviously came up with the Dark Frontiers, and but all the main timeline, so to speak, and all the modern stuff with the Dark Frontier series, DA's handling anything from the Civil War all the way to World War One is Doc is handling with the Dark Frontiers Vampire Chronicles, and then from World War One to the Cold War, I'm handling with the Dark Frontiers War Journals. So it's all in, and it's kind of like how it's all the same characters. It's all, you still got Doc, Declan, Jed, Jordan, Savon, all the characters from the Dark Frontier series. But it's like when you read DA's books, you're reading it through Declan's lens, because obviously Declan is the main character. He writes through that. So, but when you read Doc's, you're reading through same characters, but you're getting the perspective of the characters through the character Doc's lens. And same thing with War Journals, you're getting those same characters, but through Jed's perspective, his lens. So yeah, I've got four series over those 12 books. They're all connected. Kodiak and Valley of Bones. Well, Kodiak is not, there's nothing in Kodiak that officially ties it in. There may be something in the works coming. Valley of Bones, there's just a very little bit towards the end that sharp-eyed readers will be able to, because I've had people say, hey, is this connected to this? I'm like, yeah. So yeah, they're
nice. Those are all your books right there.
Yep.
Man, I'm proud of you, man. That's a lot of books. Those are awesome. And I love how that you and DA and Doc all write books and y'all tie them in together.
Yep.
And then you all meet up, and you guys are all friends in real life too.
Well,
that's always fun.
Doc and I were talking about this the other day, and it's cool to, like the book that I'm writing right now takes place after his second, third, and fourth, and fifth book that he's got planned. Takes care of, it happens way before what I'm writing right now. But there's ideas that he and I've talked about, the stuff he's going to put in the books that I'm throwing little tidbits to, that people are like, well, wait a minute, where was that at? Hadn't happened yet. Or technically it has happened, but you just hadn't read about it yet. So it's just, just little Easter eggs for people,
How often do you and DA and Doc get together and game plan? You do pre-gaming and plan all this out? Or do y'all just go for it?
Not as much as we probably would like to, seeing as how far apart we all live from each other. But there's hardly a day goes by that we're not, we've got a three-way chat. It's just the three of us that, if one of us has got an idea for something, we'll run that. Hey, what do you think about this? Or I'm thinking about putting this in there. What do y'all think? Or is this going to tie in? We're constantly bouncing those ideas off of each other.
Yeah.
And it's wild to because DA started writing way before we were all friends, but there's things that he wrote, 10 years ago that it's almost like he knew, and they're just little things that line up perfectly with stuff that I've been able to write and stuff that Doc's been able to write. And it's just, it's been fun for all three of us to kind of, it's therapeutic, really. It's a way for us each to express our own take on everything, and it's been fun. We've enjoyed it.
Well, that's wonderful. I can appreciate that, and I know you guys have a good following as well. You guys got like cult classics going on over there now, right? Don't you?
Yeah.
What it feels like is awesome. Yeah, and fan clubs.
Yeah, and there's a certain person that's in a couple of my books.
Oh, me?
Mm-hmm.
Doctor. I'm a doctor, Jessica.
Yep.
The only time you're ever going to hear me referred to as doctor, okay, ever, because I ain't no real doctor. I don't pretend to be one, okay, like some people I know. Just kidding. Okay, but anyways, that's funny. Thank you for including me, Robbie. I
Yep.
appreciate that.
Dr.
That's
Jessica
very sweet.
Jones, anthropologist.
If I ever write a book, I'll include. If I ever write some book like that, I'll include you too. Okay, I'll make
Well,
you a
thank you.
character. We'll trade. Okay. I love that. That's very sweet, and I appreciate it. Well, when are we getting back out in the woods, Robbie? We gonna meet up sometime?
You just I'm off every weekend. You tell me.
Okay. Well, it's about time. As soon as the weather cools off a little bit, it is too darn hot right now.
Well, if
It is.
I'm definitely gonna be at that one that I told you about in October. So if you don't, if
Yes.
those other plans don't come through, then uh,
I head down there.
there's some places we can probably try to go to before and after.
Oh yeah, we got my spot down there
'Cause-
too.
Well, but also if you come up there, and I've just found out that we got one of our new reserves at the police department. He lives right in the area where I based the first book.
Really? Where there's a
So
werewolf out there?
where
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
Rick got attacked by one, yeah.
Ooh.
So
Okay.
if you want to come up and go see the area where the first book was set,
Yeah.
we can do that.
And you're not too far from the whole Bishopville Lizard Man. You know, they just had a festival last month.
That yeah,
Couple weeks ago.
they
Did you
lean
go?
into that. That's that the book two, the one you show up in. That's actually where that book's based
Okay.
out of. It's about I don't know, maybe 2.5, 3 hours from here, something like
Oh
that.
yeah.
It's Lee County, the Skateboard Swamp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
But
was going to stop by there when I was leaving South Carolina last year. I was at Myrtle Beach at a conference, and it started raining, so I didn't stop. I was having a long drive home, and turns out there was like somebody that drove through the Dollar General, and like
yeah, I
burned
remember you
a
telling me
bunch of-
about that.
Yeah. I was like, dang it, I missed it. Oh well, it's probably best I didn't go for that. It got a little hot. It was a hot mess over there. Yeah, Bishopville gets crunk, gets a little crazy over there sometimes apparently. But yeah, I don't know. Have the lizard man shown back up over there lately? Have you had any sightings to report?
I think the last one that I actually heard about was 2023, maybe. And I haven't checked into it. I'm sure there's probably been more, but 2023 I think was the last one that I actually read anything about.
That's recent.
Yeah, well, and I was looking into it when I was writing for the second book, because like I said, that's where that one's based, and that's what that one's based on is the creature of Skateboard Swamp.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. Everybody just watch your back out there, okay, Robbie, and always keep your head on a swivel. I know you do.
Always.
And, yeah, keep your ear to the street. These cryptid streets out here, and yeah, I'll come out there. Listen, if I end up, see, I've got plans for that weekend we were talking about, but if that falls through, let's do another weekend. I'll come up there when the weather cools off, and we'll make a weekend of it.
Well, that's a 5-day weekend for me, because we're out of school on that Friday, then I got Saturday and Sunday off, then we're out of school that Monday and Tuesday, so I don't have to go back to work till the following Wednesday. So that's why I thought that would be a good.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Is that Veterans Day weekend? No, that's the November.
No, it's just
okay.
Yeah. This I think this is just I think there's what we used to call teacher in service day that day, or one of those days, and I don't know. It's a long weekend. They're just calling it our fall break. So
fall break. Oh yeah, we get fall break.
It's a 5-day weekend for me. So once I get off on that Thursday, I won't have to go back to the following Wednesday. So
you know what? I think that's the same. We have fall break too. We'll talk about this behind the scenes. Okay, we're sitting here making plans for the whole entire world. Well, I'll talk to you later about that. Okay, but man, this has been a fantastic show. I have really enjoyed this, Robbie. Please come back and hang out with me again when you get a chance, and we'll do this again sometime soon. Okay, and yeah, so y'all please go over and check out Robbie's books. Look up Robby Jed Raines on Amazon. And is that the main place to get your books, Robby?
Yeah, right now until DA's still working on trying to get the nightmarehunters.com. Once he gets that going, then you can find all of our books, mine, his, and Doc's. But you can find all of our books on Amazon too.
Wonderful. And y'all go subscribe over at Nightmare Hunter Podcast. You guys go live every Wednesday right now. And sometimes on Saturdays usually too. But y'all check them out on Wednesdays. Okay. And yeah, wonderful stuff. I want to thank, before we go tonight, I want to thank everybody who gave me some super stickers tonight. Y'all are so amazing. I appreciate that. Angel, thank you so much for that. Bobby Singleton, thank you for gifting all those Cryptid Hunters memberships and for being a member of the Hunt Club. And let's see. Jim Weaverling, double thank you for the last time too. I appreciate you. And thank you for being here. And I think Jim is friends with Kelly, my friend Kelly, my homegirl. I took her out we went to the Dogman investigation last week. And so Jim knows Kelly. All right. So thank you for being here, Jim. Thank you for being here, Kelly. Thank you. Everybody who was in the audience tonight, all my moderators. And I hope everybody learned a little something. If you guys want to check out the remote viewing data, that's pretty cool data tonight, actually. Go over to my Patreon and become a member over there. I'm going to thank all my members. Y'all mean the world to me. And that's the website right there to go to if y'all want that. Okay. Well, Robby, we'll see you out in the woods. I'll see you on your podcast. And yeah, you're awesome. Okay.
Thank you.
And please stay safe out there. You guys have a wonderful night. I will see you guys back here on Saturday night on the hunt, 10 p.m. Be there or be square. All right. And everybody keep your head on a swivel. Be safe out there. And I'll see y'all next time. All right. See you, Robby.
See you later.